All right, going live. 5 seconds.
Hi, my name is CJ Nicholson. I'm the host for this Aircast on the Fall 2021 GPF Internship Experience. I'm currently a senior at George Mason University studying global affairs. Our focus tonight is on the Fall 2021 GPF Internship Experience featuring Jim Millard, Dima Kassam, Fatima Eftikar, and myself. Special thanks to our sponsor, Democracy on Air, a nonpartisan nonprofit that is supporting the US On Air network of 50 governance and election hubs at us.onair.cc. This Aircast is being live streamed and recorded. After the Aircast, there will be a short video to learn more about how to find information on this Aircast, as well as how one can participate in online and live Aircast discussions. Our first featured guest is Dima Kassam. Dima is also a senior at George Mason University, studying government and international politics at the Shar School. Hi, Dima.
CJ, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Okay, I'll go ahead and ask you about 1 or 2 questions just about your experience, and I'm excited to hear your responses. So, what has been your favorite experience with Democracy on Air so far?
Honestly, like the technological aspect, I guess. I was like never somebody who thought like I would get an internship like this where I had to do a lot of like online work and research and all of that. And that was just like one of the things I learned a lot about, especially with like working online and like our docs and all of that. Sometimes it can get like a little frustrating or it's a lot, but it's also very rewarding because it's like something new that I never thought I would, get to experience.
Nice. Okay, and what is, aside from the technological aspects, what's something you feel like you've learned that you can take away from this experience?
Just like doing good research, honestly, because like, especially when it comes to like, finding like articles and stuff about our representatives and all of that, it's just sometimes there's so many like different sources that you can find, and it's just like weeding out like the ones that are like non-partisan or like where you're trying to find something that's just like straight to the point, trying to figure out what is happening.
Yeah, okay, awesome. Thank you, Dima. Our next featured guest is Fatima Eftikar. She is also a governance and international politics major at Mason and with the Shar School. Hi, Fatima.
Hi, CJ. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I'm just going to pose the same questions to you that I posed to Dima. So first of all, what's been your favorite experience so far with Democracy on Air?
My favorite would have to be the outreach we did throughout the semester, just being able to connect and meet different people from all different states and working towards a common goal was really interesting and rewarding to see it happen.
Yeah, okay. And what's something you've learned that you feel like you're going to take away after this experience?
I guess mine would be the importance of persistency, especially when you're working with people online virtually rather than in person. You just have to work a lot on communicating with them and pushing towards your goal of what you're trying to accomplish, but in a positive and respectful manner.
Okay, great. Thank you. Our final feature, well, not our final featured guest because I'm technically also one, but our third featured guest is Jim Millard, who is a global affairs major at Mason. Hi, Jim.
Hey, CJ, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm getting by.
I'll pose the same questions to you. So first and foremost, what's been your favorite experience with Democracy on Air so far?
I'd have to say I really enjoyed the outreach portion of our internship when we were reaching out to administrators and schools at administrators and students at other universities to try and get them on board with the whole US On Air project, see about setting up other or transferring over our state hubs to them, and really trying to grow the organization.
Yeah, okay. And what's something you've learned that you feel like you're going to be able to take away with you after the internship?
Something I've learned, I'd say I probably knew a bit about the structure of the government and how these things worked, but working, especially in the curating part of this, I guess kind of like opening up the hood a little bit and seeing how everything really, like the nuts and bolts of the whole system, like, your state representatives, your local politicians, things like that, and how that all feeds into, the national politics and things like that. I'd say that would probably be, one of the things I learned.
Yeah, okay. Great. I'll take a moment to answer the questions myself.
I was going to say, you want to switch roles and I can
sure.
ask them to you? Well, CJ, what's been your favorite part of the internship so far?
I really liked getting a chance to talk with Jennifer Victor. I think the driving force behind this internship is really like helping to promote democracy in the United States. And so her talk on what is happening with democratic backsliding in the United States, as well as how to kind of prevent that, was very insightful for me.
Oh, very good, very good. And then something you've learned, I guess you let into that a little bit there, but
I'm gonna flip a little bit. I was the team lead for the interns this semester, and I learned a lot, I feel like, about becoming a more effective communicator for everyone on the internship and stuff, to make sure everyone is up to date and knows what's going on.
Excellent. Always a good skill to have.
Yeah. So if all our future guests could turn on their cameras, I wanted to pose the question to all of you. What's something you've learned from your fellow interns here? In that, so what's something you've learned from your fellow interns? Whoever wants to go.
I guess I would say one thing I learned is teamwork and how effective and how far we can go when each person works together collectively and positively. It was a pleasure working with all of you, and you guys were amazing, and I learned a lot from each and one of you this semester.
Oh.
I'll piggyback on what Fatima said a little bit there about teamwork, and especially I think the importance of communication. I think that's something we did really well as a group this semester, making sure everybody knew, what everyone was doing, if we needed help with something, if we needed, something clarified. The lines of communication were always open. That was something that I appreciated personally, and I think is important to sort of take with you into whatever else you're doing in the future, as far as working in a team setting goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna echo both of you guys. Like, honestly, it's just been great not being in this like alone and having you guys in it with me. It's just like sometimes like whatever we do, it can get some frustrating sometimes, and other people can't understand what you're frustrated about. But sometimes when you talk to other people who are going through the same thing, it's a good like relief, and then you can get help like figuring out your frustrations and finding a solution to fix it. And that has been like really amazing, because you guys are like literally the best team I've ever worked with, and it's just been an experience of a lifetime working with you guys.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and follow up for myself. I think what I've really appreciated is all the perspectives you guys bring to everything that we've done over the course of the semester, as we are trying to implement new things or try out new ideas. And as each stage of our internship progressed from curation to outreach to aircasting itself, as we're doing now, being able to have your different perspectives, I think really brought what we were doing to another level, rather than if it was just one of us. So thank you all. And I believe we have a question from the audience from Todd Gillette. What was the most useful thing you learned in your internship? And that's for whoever wants to answer first. I mean, it's kind of similar to one of the questions I asked, so maybe it might just be a rehash of what we talked about already.
I'll rehash, but kind of from a different angle. One of the more useful things that I learned from this internship, it had to do with the outreach, but it had more to do with, compiling a contact list, keeping it up to date, making sure to follow through with them, keeping organized who I had spoken with, who I hadn't spoken with, but I had emailed with, and just keeping all that in line. It's just something that intellectually I probably knew how to do, but it was good practice having to do it in a professional setting.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with Jim. Just like, figuring out a way to like get everything organized. It's just, especially with the amount of outreach that we were doing and the amount of people that we had to like reach out to, it was kind of difficult at first to like find a rhythm. But once like we figured it out, like each person did it in their own way, but we all had like one big organized doc, which I think is something to be really proud of.
I agree with both Jim and Dima, but also one thing I learned was more so on the technological side, like working on a website, editing the pages, becoming authors and whatnot. It's a really valuable skill to learn, and I'm really happy that we all got to do this semester.
Yeah, for me, I think I got better experience with time management. I think I was personally at 18 credits a semester, and then with the internship, and then I had fraternity going on. There was a lot happening for me this semester. So not only like learning how to better manage my schedule, but to be able to better understand how like a team's schedule works. That's something I've never like really done before. Like understanding like fellow interns and how their schedules work and how to get things to work out best for them. And I think that was really like a big learning experience for me. And Scott Joy is in our audience. I believe he has a question.
Thanks for all of you you were a great team. You were a great team, and individually you did great work. So we very much appreciate everything you've done. And we'd like to know how we could improve the internship for you. Anybody?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. One of the things that I would like to see going forward, like for other interns, is I guess a little more continuity in how the tasks go, because it did seem like we went from, all right, we're going to do curation this month, we're going to do outreach this month, we're going to do aircasting this month. And it kind of felt like we kind of left 3 tasks sort of half finished. Like at a certain point, the pages weren't getting updated anymore. We stopped reaching out to other universities, and we're learning this aircasting thing kind of just in time for everything to be done. So just maybe kind of a restructuring of how things are timed. I'm not sure how that would look, but that would be my 2 cents.
I was personally thinking about the outreach portion. I think there's really good potential there, and I think we set up a good like foundation. But I think more time needs to be devoted, and I think we kind of need to if the next internship group should really double down on it to really, because I think we had maybe 1 or 2 successful responses of possible interns that were interested, and I think doubling down on that to really get this to go national, as is the goal. We need to outreach more, and maybe look into how to establish Handshake, because a lot of universities are go with Handshake and don't really listen to the email. So maybe that's something that could be looked into.
Yeah, I agree with CJ. The whole outreach aspect has a lot of potential, but there's a lot of levels to it. So I feel like Handshake would make it a lot more easier, considering we reached out to so many people, but the feedback is they're more reliant on certain platforms now. So I think if we better broke down how to reach out, I feel like it would make a lot more of a positive impact.
I think like with the outreach, like I know we had like certain target schools in each state, but there are a lot of them that like never replied, which is fine, but we should just like kind of shift the focus to a different school, like try to make that like impact on each state, even if the school that we originally wanted didn't work out, didn't reply, or something like went awry. I don't know, but like we need to emphasize that like outreach and put ourselves out there a little bit more.
I think just to jump back in to kind of bring it home with outreach, the whole, I guess, based on what I'm hearing from everybody else, is it really needs to be a sustained push. Like we can't just push it for a little bit and then kind of back off, because people will forget about us. And if we want to grow, I mean, growth is key, I think, to this whole thing being a success. And so, yeah, that would be really what I'd say going forward, put the emphasis there.
I would say like maybe have like certain people responsible for certain aspects of the internship. Like some people are responsible for the outreach, some people are responsible for curation, some people on Aircast, something like that. That would like help balance everything out rather than everybody working on the exact same thing at the same time.
Yeah, I think if each intern had a specific role throughout the whole semester, I feel like that would make a lot of impact, because they would be solely focusing on that project for the course of 4 or say longer months.
Fabulous. That's great input. And we'll be talking to Todd and Shuaib and the other director and Meredith, and I think that's very much where we want to go anyways, is particularly focus on the outreach portion. The four of you have been very helpful in designing these aircasts so they're real easy to do, because they're very complex because of the live streaming and the recording aspect. And Jim in particular did an amazing job to figure out how to do all this, and has been very helpful in the future. It won't take a whole month to do. It'll maybe take one Zoom meeting and the interns will be ready to aircast, so they could focus on outreach and the issues that they want to do. Maybe Dima, you could talk a little bit about what you'd like to do with the abortion, your idea, the debates.
Sure. I'm still working the exact angle I want to like tackle this from, but it's probably going to be a debate between two people on the Mason debate team. I didn't realize that one of my sorority sisters was on the team. So I reached out to her, and we're going to try to figure out something if she's interested or some of her teammates are.
That's great. And CJ is, we started to work on creating a Costa Rica democracy on air. You have any thoughts on how that might work, or you're interested in Spain in democracy?
Yeah, I think that having more hubs for democracies nationally could serve as a great tool for people who live there, and it could be a good tool for people who just want to learn about other democracies abroad. I mean, I think you could say in general, Americans don't typically know much about other governments. Even within our program of people, it can be difficult. And so, and at the democratic backsliding that I mentioned earlier, that we talked about when we went to Jennifer Victor's talk, that's not just a United States issue, that's a global issue. And so being able to understand the issues that are impacting each country as at the same time, all in one location, as the same with the same information about like how the government works. And so that way you can understand how the government works and then like what issues it's facing at the same time. And I think that's just something that would be really great to have for each democracy.
Fabulous. It's great. What we can end on that. CJ is going to, we're all going to leave, and Dima and Jim are going to give a little demo so people potential interns in the future can see what they're doing. And Dima, you may want to talk a little bit about the chapter before we go, and what we want to do is set up state chapters, and maybe we can do that in the demo when we get to the chapter page.
Okay.
So CJ has to leave us, and we're all going to leave, and Dima and Jim will stay on and they'll give us a little demo of how to learn more about US On Air and the chapter. Thank you
Thank
again,
you.
everybody.
Have a nice
And
day.
have a great Christmas.
On our website at us.onair.cc and on our YouTube channel. The US On Air homepage highlights what's streaming today and the upcoming aircasts. Other homepage posts are accessible by selecting the thumbnails below. For example, the US Senate post can be viewed in slideshow mode by selecting the tabs, or you can learn about and engage in US governance and elections by going to us.onair.cc and by subscribing to the US On Air YouTube channel. You can learn more about the US On Air network by watching these two short videos.